Hello everyone, welcome back. In this session, I will be showing you the designer interface of REDCap. You might have seen the recorded lectures by Dr. Nivedita on questionnaire development. When the questionnaire is finalized by the research team, it will be sent to the data manager or the designer for the development phase. The data manager reviews the CRF and the protocol and sends a create new project request in REDCap. This request has to be approved by the REDCap administrator. In the request, the data manager or the designer provides the details such as the project title, who are the primary investigators, the name and their email addresses, what is the purpose of this project, etc. When this request is approved by the REDCap administrator, the project name is displayed in the project list or the My Projects page. Now click on this new project named REDCap Orientation, which I have created now to show you the designer interface of REDCap. When you click on that project title, it opens into the project home page, and you can see on the left side on the navigation pane there are more options than the ones that I have shown you in the end user interface video. The extra options that you see here are all applicable for the database designer. Click on the designer and it will take you to this page. On this page you can see there are options called as create, import, upload. Use these options for creating the instruments or forms for your project. Before going into the form setup or creation of forms, let us discuss project setup. Click on project setup. This takes you to this page of project setup. After reviewing the protocol, you need to decide whether the study is a longitudinal study or is this a basic survey kind of study or an observational study. If it is a longitudinal study, you need to enable this option called longitudinal data collection. Else you can just disable this option. And if you're using surveys in this project, just click on enable. After creation of this project, if you want to modify that project title and purpose during the development of the study, you just need to click on modify project title and purpose, click on this and just change the name of this project and click on save. And if you want to see the current data dictionary or you want to directly go back to the online designer for developing your instrument or forms, you can just click on these options. Or if you want to download any existing instrument or forms from the library, you can just click on this option, REDCap Instrument Library. There are multiple number of forms available that can be freely used. And these are the different designing options that we have: smart variables, piping, action tags, field embedding and special functions. These options are required when you are writing a programming logic for within the database. If you want to use any calculated fields, for example age of a participant, you want the database to calculate it automatically when the date of birth is entered, you need to write some programming code. And when you click on this multiple options like smart variables, piping, you just need to click on it. It will open into a new window and provides you with examples and also a detailed description of how these variables should be used, how a piping should be done, what are the action tags that are available and how these need to be used and in which format, including the syntax. Each and everything is described in these sections. If this is a longitudinal study, there could be multiple follow-ups required for this project. So each follow-up is called as an event, and you will have to define these events by clicking define my events, and here you need to give name for each follow-up or each event that could happen in this project and at what time intervals this could happen, and at each event what are the forms that need to be completed for a participant, and this will be assigned by this section by visiting this section called designate instruments for my events. Click on begin editing. When you click on editing, these tick boxes changes into check boxes, and you just need to select the options, and after making the changes you will have to click on save. Going back to the project setup again. Now these are the additional options or customizations that we have, and there are more customizations available, and you can just click on additional customizations, and this opens into a new window. These are the multiple options that are available. When a CRF or a questionnaire is sent to a designer for developing or transforming that into a database, it will be clearly mentioned if there is a requirement for using repeating instruments or events. In that cases, you need to enable this feature called as repeating instrument. Similarly, there are projects where auto numbering is required, and if auto numbering for your project is not required, you can just keep it as it is, or you just keep it as disabled. Scheduling module. If you want to schedule the visits for that particular participant with the defined time intervals, you can use this module called as scheduling module, and similarly a link is also appears above under this data collection section above the record status dashboard, and this link is called scheduling. As per the events that you have created, scheduling is generated for each participant. And if this is a clinical trial and you want the randomization module to be used to randomize the participant into one of the groups, one of the arms, you will have to enable the randomization module. And designating an email address for communication, this is mainly used if this data collection is happening through surveys. Whenever if you are sharing the survey link on public platforms, a user using this public platform can click on the link, enter their email address. As soon as they enter their email address, a link to the survey is sent to that email address. For this purpose, we will be using this option called designate an email for communication. Similarly, there are multiple options. When you click on additional customizations, you have seen there are multiple other options like double data entry. If you want a double data entry feature to be enabled, you will have to contact the REDCap administrator, because that will need an administrator's approval, and in the double data entry process you will have to decide who will be the person 1 for doing the data entry and who is the person 2 for doing the data entry, and who are the reviewers. You can set up the project bookmarks in this section, and every user will have different roles in each project, and each role will have different set of privileges, and that need to be discussed and shared with the project team, and should be maintained. You need to maintain a document for describing each role and what are the privileges that are required for each role. Data access groups. Data access groups is used when there are multiple sites in your project, and each site is one data access group, and all the persons who come under data access group will have a DAG number assigned to that record ID as well. The importance of data access group is that all the data collectors who come under one single data access group can only view and access the records collected by the persons that come under this data access group. Once the designer completes the development of the database, he or she will initially test the database, and that testing is called as alpha testing. And when this designer gives access to another designer to test the database, that phase is called as beta testing. When alpha testing and beta testing is completed, the designer or the data manager gives the initial draft of the database access to the project team for testing, and this testing phase is called as end user acceptance testing or end user testing. And if there are any discrepancies or if there are any further changes required in the for initial draft, that will be communicated to the designer or the data manager, and the designer or the data manager will fix those issues and ask and request the project team for another round of testing. It is highly recommended that a project database is tested thoroughly before moving into production and before collecting the real data. Let us start designing a new form for this project. Click on Create. This will click on this Create option. Will give you these options asking where do you need this new form to be created. I'm just selecting this option, add instrument here, which means a new instrument will be added after follow-up form. Click on this. I am saying this form, naming this form as demographics, and click on Create. A new instrument was successfully created. Now click on Close. You can see new form demographics has been created and the number of fields in this form is 0. Now click on this demographics link and it will open into a form where you can start creating the fields. Before that, if you want to rename this or if you want to delete this, on the right side you can see there is an option called Choose Action, and from the drop down you can choose the applicable options. If you want to rename, just click on Rename, and after renaming the form you will have to save it. And if you want to create a copy of the same form, just click on Copy. And if you want to delete this existing form, just click on Delete. And this option is for downloading this instrument. The use of this option is that if you download this instrument and if you want to reuse this form, this can be, when you click on download, this zip file is downloaded and onto your device, and if you want to use the same form in another project, you will have to just upload that zip file and the whole form is created instantly. And this is useful particularly when you are using large very big forms or a form that has a large number of fields. Now click on Demographics. The online designer page for this instrument is open. These are the different options. Do you want to add just a field, or do you want to add a matrix of fields, or else do you want to import it from the field bank? I'm just creating it on my own. Add field. When you click on this drop down field type, there are multiple options. One is the text box. In this data type, it captures the text, numbers, both alphanumeric and date and time. So for example, in this I am saying date of entry. I want to capture when this data is being collected, and the variable name I am giving it as date underscore entry. Please note, in REDCap, the variable name should be less than 26 characters and it is always unique. It should be in smaller case letters. And the validation for this date should be, I need the format in DMY. There are multiple options like MDY, YMD, and you also have options like hours, minutes, and including seconds as well. And there are multiple data types. If you want to use a number in this text box field, and if there are decimal places in the number that you're capturing, if for example height or weight you want to capture up to 2 decimals, you can also say that this data type should be a number with 2 decimals. Or if you're capturing date in this field, you need to say that I'm capturing date in this field, and the data type should be date text box, and the validation should be the format of the date that you want to capture. So in this, I want to capture date in DMY, which is date, month and year. And below that you will see an options called required and identifier. Is this field mandatory? If this is mandatory, just select yes. And if this is not mandatory, just select no. I am selecting it as yes. And after validation, I've selected, you can see there are 2 options called as minimum and maximum. If you want to give a range for this date that need to be captured, you can give a range. You can give what should be the maximum date and what should be the minimum date. I don't have any criteria for this, but at maximum I am giving it as data F entry should not be a future date. I don't want tomorrow's date to be entered today if they are entering or capturing the data today. So I am just saying it as today. When I say today should be the maximum range, this field will not capture tomorrow's date, which enforces that this date of entry is either equal to today's date or before today's date. This is also called as edit check. And REDCap, this version of REDCap now also supports hard checks. And if you want this minimum and maximum to be implemented, I will have to just click on action tags. I have shown you before in the online designer. These are the different properties of REDCap, and there are different features, different options called smart variables, piping, embedding, etc. And out of which action tag, click on action tag, and these are the different action tags available within REDCap. You can scroll down, there are many. And if you want to implement if you want to enforce that this minimum maximum is enforced, you will have to just look out for the option called force minimum maximum. Just click on add. Now close. Now this minimum maximum force minimum maximum action tag as added into this section. So this is how I create a variable in REDCap. Click on save. Now you can see, as this is a date, I also get the calendar icon. And if you don't want this calendar icon to be displayed, you can go back to the project setup and additional customization sections and select the appropriate options to disable this calendar option. Now you can see the action tag, this one is implemented here. I am creating another field. I am naming, I want a radio button in this section, and the question is gender. Gender should be a radio type button. So in the field data type, I am selecting it as multiple choice radio button, and in brackets it displays it as single answer. And in the variable I will have to give it as gender, and I am moving into the options. Now this gender variable already exists in this database. That is why it is showing me an alert that this variable name gender already exists in the database. I'm just closing it. I am changing this to gender_1 and giving the options. So when you're giving options for the multiple choice, drop down or radio buttons, it should be in this format. It should be 1, space male or female, 2, space female or male, and 3 I'm giving it as not preferred to say, preferred to say. And this is a required field, and this is an identifier as well. I'm marking it as an identifier, and this is also a required field, and click on save. Now I have created this another field called gender. Let's create another field. Click on add field. Now I am asking the question about pregnancy. I am just putting it as pregnant ? And this question should be an yes or no type of question. So if you go back to the field type, from the top, if you see, the options that we have is a text box, which we have already seen, and paragraph text. For example, if you are asking for any comments, like if you are choosing something, please specify. And if you want to provide any comments, in such cases you can use this option called paragraph text. And calculated fields, I have given you an example. In case of age, for example, when date of birth is already entered, and if you want the age to be auto calculated by REDCap, you can select this option in the field type called calculated text. Multiple choice with single answer, where you will see a drop down list and a single answer can be selected from the drop down list. And radio buttons, like I have shown you earlier, male, female, radio buttons with complete options will be displayed for that particular question. And check boxes where multiple answers can be selected. A checkbox type of question should be used. And the other option that we have is the yes or no questions, and in this case we are using this yes or no questions. So it automatically assigns, if you are selecting yes or no, no as the field data type, 1 is assigned to yes and 0 is assigned for no. Now I am entering the variable name also as preg. Make sure that your variable names are as short as possible and as relatable as possible. This is the required option, and click on save. Now I want this question to appear only for the female participants. I don't want male participants to answer this question. So how do I program it? On top, if you are seeing, there are multiple icons. This pencil icon is for editing that question. If you want to make any changes to the question name or the options, the same window appears when you click this pencil icon. The same create new field window appears here, and you can make any changes. So I've earlier made a mistake. I'm changing it to a question mark. Now click on save. Now this green color icon is called as branching logic. When you click on this, it will allow you to apply some logic for this particular field called pregnant. When I'm clicking it, this gives us a window where you have two options. You can either write the logic here manually if you are good in programming, or else this is a simple drag and drop logic builder. You will have to click on this radio button and select from the options. If the gender here is female, then only display the question regarding the pregnant. Only if this below field is true, then display the question pregnant. Click on save. When I clicked on save, and this branching logic is displayed here on top for this field, and this icon in sky blue color, this is for copying the same field. Let us test it. Just click on this. Do you wish to copy this field? I said yes. So automatically it assigns a field or a variable name. Now this variable name now has a variable name 1 added to it. It is preg_1. Sorry, the new variable name is preg_2. And if you want to move this newly created field into some other position in the database, just click on this move, and it gives you the complete list of variables, and you will have to say after which field this newly created field should appear. So I am just creating or moving this to pregnant or the first form, and I'm clicking it on save. Move field. The message says the field was successfully moved. Click on close. Now you can see that field is no more available on this page. Now let us go back to our previous instruments where this field has been moved. Click on the screening form. Now you can see the newly moved form pregnant with variable name pregnant2 appearing on the screening form. Let us go back to our new form that we have just now created, and this into option, if you no more require this field, if you want to delete this field, you can just click on delete. Click on delete. This will delete the field. So this is the basic introduction of how to create a form and how to create the variables. On left side of the screen you will see there are other multiple options, and all the information related to these options is available in the help and the video tutorials. Click on the data dictionary tab here on this page, and if you click on the download current data dictionary, it will download the Excel sheet with the complete set of questions, the variables used within this project. And when you click on codebook refers to this page where you will see the variable name, the label, and what is the data type for that field. If there are multiple options, what are the multiple options, what are the codes, etc. Click on the user rights page here to see the list of users currently in the database, and if you want to assign a new user, you will have to just click on this page and click on the username. If the user account is already created, then that is displayed on the page. You can just select it from the list. Select user rights. Now if I am going to assign some other user, I will have to just type that user, and I can just select the username, and I'm going to assign them to any role that is already defined here. Or if I want to customize the user privileges, then I'll have to use the option 1, select the user ID, and I will have to add with custom rights. So this window appears, and you will have to select it from the options that are available on the screen. Before giving accesses to this site staff or the project staff, an agreement should be made between the project team and the data manager on user rights matrix, and this need to be documented as well. This is a quick overview of REDCap designer's interface. Thank you for your time, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to show this video to you all. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions, and there is a test version of REDCap available that can be used for your practice as well. This is freely available. You will have to just search in Google saying the REDCap test URL. Thank you for your time.